Now, we eagerly await our Chief Guest's address. A humble request to Advocate Narendra Sawaikar, sir, to kindly enlighten us on today's occasion. You have the days.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Shri Bhaskar Bab Khandeparkar, Chairman of the General Body, as well as Mr. Krishna Shetty, Chairman of the Working Committee, all the dignitaries on the dais, as well as the Principal of the GVM's Education School, teachers, and my dear students. At the outset, let me thank the management for having given me an opportunity to be amongst you all today. This is the activity club, and as a part of the activity club, various competitions were held and the prizes have been given to all the winners. I congratulate all the winners who have participated as well as who have won the prizes. I was reminded of the fact that for the first time when I participated in an elocution competition that was in MIBK High School. And this was when I was in the 7th standard. When I was watching some of the performers here, I was reminded of my performance then. That time there was no mic system, no sound system. And around 100 to 150 students were sitting in a hall. And my teacher had given me around 3 to 4 pages of speech, which I had by-hearted, obviously. And I was supposed to reproduce it as a part of the elocution competition. And there I was standing before an audience of around 150 to 200 students. There were teachers also sitting in the audience. And when I started reciting my speech, when I observed one or two students over here, I was reminded of my fate then. In fact, I could reproduce only one page, and later on I forgot what I have to do. It almost took me another 1 to 2 minutes to gather the confidence, because I started shivering, and the children started laughing. In fact, the teachers who were sitting in the audience, they said, "Ule, ule." But still, I was not able to recollect what I had by-hearted. And suddenly I jumped to the last paragraph of the speech, and there I concluded my speech. Well, friends, it so happens then subsequently, during my 11th standard, which I did in GVM's higher secondary school, and later on I shifted to Dimpe College. So during those times, the Dimpe College was hosting, and right now I think it is also being hosted, that happenings or something like that. So I participated in the happenings. I was representing GVMs then, though we were in the higher secondary, and higher secondary was not allowed to participate because it was a college event. But still, some of the higher secondaries were allowed because there were no participants. So I was told to address the gathering, and you know the Dimpe College, how it is. And the event was in a library. Around 200 to 230, 250 to 300 students were sitting in the hall, and all Dimpeites from the various institutions from Panjim itself. And so when it was my turn to say whatever I wanted to. Again, it reminded me, because when I was listening to the very same students over here, when they were performing here, I started reciting my speech, and then suddenly, after around 5 minutes, I again forgot what I had to say. Then again the students started cheering me. They said that, "Murn," but I forgot completely. But anyway, I don't know, maybe for some reasons, but I got a consolation prize then. Well, students, oratory is one such skill, but let me admit, if Mr. Bhaskar Khandeparkar had to be in politics, we would have convinced people why the IIT should have been here. Mr. Parrikar is not there, but anyway, you could have done it if you had to join politics. See, ultimately what the oratory is, he has nicely pointed out, we should have the confidence, we should know how to convince the people. When I was watching Tukaram Naik's granddaughter, Rajvardhan Tujamarde. So when I was watching her, and everybody must have seen it, because there were some students from the senior classes. Those students, they forgot their speech, but she didn't. For the same one single reason, because she knew what she had to say. And she by-hearted, and she was told that this is what you have to go and reproduce over there. But when we grow, as we grow, then we realize, and when it comes to eye-to-eye contact with the audience on one hand, and secondly, when we start reproducing what we have by-hearted, so then it becomes very difficult. What in her case, what was important was, she knew that she has to go and say it in the audience. She was not bothered about who is watching her, who is not watching her. But the students who were here, they were looking at their friends. They were looking at some of them who were chatting among themselves. So they were saying, "Majes baddal ulayta kai kide? Haंव भाषण करता ते सारखे करना काय कितें?" So that reflects on us, and ultimately we end up in a soup, and we are not able to reproduce, and we are not able to tell what exactly we want to say. Oratory is one such skill. I'll tell you one incident. And one of my colleagues, let me admit that during my profession, and obviously he is not a votary of to which ideological class I belong to. But it was during the election time, and one day he said, "Narendra, I want to listen to and watch the performance and watch the oratory of Pramod Mahajan." I said, "Okay." Then I told him, "So and so date at so and so place, Mr. Mahajan will be addressing the gathering, you can go and sit over there." He said that, "I don't understand Marathi, but I have been told that he is a good orator, and I just want to go and watch him." So it was the place which I had told him. He went over there, he sat in the crowd, and the district disciplinarian he was, the time announced was 5 and Mr. Mahajan arrived at 7. But in spite of that, he sat over there because he wanted to watch Mahajan. And he was so impressed. The next day when he came to court, he said that, "Narendra, I didn't understand what he said, but I was convinced that Mr. Mahajan was telling something good, and he wanted to do something good." Friends, now Mr. Mahajan, he was one of the best orators. If you could go to YouTube or Google, you would find many speeches of Mr. Mahajan, maybe in the parliament, outside the parliament, and he used to even conduct classes how one should be a best orator. You know, once he told us how he is the best orator, and this was, in fact, this was told to us and confirmed by Mr. Rane, who is the Union Minister, Narayan Rane, because Narayan Rane and Mr. Mahajan, they were residing, he told us that in the same place. Mr. Mahajan was, whenever he used to go for a speech, he used to stand before a mirror, and there were points which were jotted down. He used to paste them on the mirror, and he used to develop the points, and he used to see for himself how he is expressing himself, how he is presenting himself, and if suppose there are some lacunas, there are some flaws, he used to correct it, and that is how he used to present himself as an orator before the crowd. He used to mesmerize the crowd of around 10,000, 50,000, 1 lakh. Irrespective of the fact that what is the number in the crowd, Mr. Mahajan used to do it because he improved upon himself, because he wanted to be one of the best orators. As Mr. Bhaskar Khandeparkar said that Mr. Parrikar was not a good orator. But if you want to be a good orator, then there are various kinds of this, that there should be an eye contact, there should be a body language, how you present yourself before the people, how you modulate your voice. But what is more important is that how do you convince the people, and how do you tell them what you want to tell them. And Mr. Parrikar was very best at that. He used to convince the people, and I in fact know him because earlier he used to say that I am shivering because I never given a speech in my career, in the college career. But when he jumped into the politics, he started developing all the skills, and he was one of the best performers as well as one of the best orators that Goa ever had. Friends, oratory, whether you are into politics, whether into your social life, whether you are into management, whether you are a teacher, what is important is that you should know to convince the people that you are going to talk to. And that is more important. And as Mr. Bhaskar Khandeparkar has pointed out, rightly pointed out, that this is one such skill that one should develop, and one should try to inculcate in oneself. And how do we do it? We do it after we, in fact, one who wants to be a good orator, he should be a one listener too. He should be a good reader too. He should try to cultivate his own points in the mind. And there are various kinds of things. And let me say it, not necessarily that one should talk to in a particular language. You can talk to in various languages. But what is important is that you should be able to convey your feelings, your thoughts to the people who are sitting in the audience. And that is more important. I think the time has come that if we really want to be world power, superpower, then in that case we should also be able to convince the world. And if we want to do that, then in that case we should also develop the oratorial skills, which is more important. Like if you remember, Sushma Swaraj, the other day we in fact celebrated her birth anniversary. Sushma Swaraj was a good orator. She used to talk in Hindi. Mr. Vajpayee was a good orator. He used to talk in Hindi. So the language doesn't matter. What is more important is basically how do you convey your ideas and how do you talk to the people, the audience that is present. So friends, I congratulate all the participants, all the winners, and I wish those who have not won the prize, they will definitely win the prizes next year or maybe thereafter. I thank the management for having given me an opportunity to be amongst you all today. I also wish all the students best of luck in their career. Thank you very much.